things I didn't know I needed. You've all held me up and held me together this past month, and I am eternally grateful. And thank you so much to the people that traveled to get here. You know how much Scott, you know Scott, and thank you. All right. Lock it up. Lock it up. Let's go. Lock it up. I started today, because I procrastinate, to try and write something, and I kept getting stuck. So instead of making like a speechy thing, I'm just going to share some of my favorite things about Scott. This is going to go well. He was incredibly kind. He took a genuine interest in getting to know people, and he wasn't, you're just going to have to listen to me cry, and he wasn't afraid to tell you how much you meant to him. He loved to learn. He wasn't ever satisfied to just know something. He wanted to understand it, and he was extremely smart. Woohoo! Go Scott. He would give you anything he had if he thought it would make you happy. From a car, oh damn, to mattresses, to Yeti coolers, anything. If he had it, he would give it to you. I was constantly trying to keep him from giving our things away. He never had an ulterior motive, and he was the least manipulative person I've ever met. I didn't think it was possible, but he was just not manipulative at all. He was very logical. There were so many things that he and I did differently, and far too often, when I asked him why he did things a certain way, his answer made so much sense. Because I was doing it because that's just the way you did it, and that's the way you've always done it, and he had reasons. Wild. And he was a very gifted athlete and a great cook. He never had kids of his own, but he was the best bonus dad I could have ever wished for. Hell yeah. And the only, my ex set the bar super low. Quickly and intensely, you fell in love with that little tiny nugget right there. Was us. Wait, well, no. Yeah, the only one surprised, oh, it was him. By how quickly. I thought I was going to be the person that was constantly telling everyone how amazing my granddaughter was, and Scott was out ahead of me by a mile. But honestly, many of the things that I loved the most were the things that made Scott uniquely Scott. The things that made me say, Scott Noble. The way he loved surprises, but he almost always ruined his own surprises because he could not wait to see your reaction, and he couldn't keep a secret. His own secrets. He could keep yours, but he couldn't keep his own. And the way that he loved the discount bin at the grocery store. He would spend tons of money on things, and then he was like always at that discount bin. He could never just buy one of something, whether it was taco seasoning or a Yeti cooler. If one was good, 2 or 3 or 4 was better. If you invited him over and he was having a good time, he might still be there the next morning. Yeah, exactly. He bought a lot of birthday and anniversary cards, but he probably never got them. Because it was so important to him that he wrote, what he wrote in it was meaningful, and he'd totally overthink it and just give up. And he had an even louder voice than I do. The first time we tried to do a puzzle together, he told me it was cheating to do the edge pieces first. We all agreed that that's nuts. Scott normal. He thought cool rocks were good home decor. And we got to go shopping every trip we went because he always forgot something.
Acapella.
But as much as I knew and loved Scott, I know him even better now because of all of you. Through all of you, I've learned things that I didn't know, and I've heard stories that I hadn't heard, but more importantly, I've gained a deeper understanding of what an amazing person he was. And I already thought he was the most amazing person I'd ever met. Because he was. Yes, I know. I don't really know how to wrap something like this up. So I'm just gonna share a picture slideshow that is set to a song from our wedding. And it's wild. How you can have a song from your wedding that means so much, and then it works when your husband dies. I don't know, it's just wild to me. And after we watch it, there'll be a handful of other people who prepared something to say. And once they've spoken, as Mary said, we'll invite anybody else.
If you wait for me, then I'll come for you. Although I've traveled far, I always hold a place for you in my heart. If you think of me, if you miss me once in a while, then I'll return to you. I'll return and fill that space in your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. If you dream of me like I dream of you, in a place that's warm and dark, in a place where I can feel the beating of your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. Oh, I've longed for you, and I have desired to see your face, your smile, to be with you wherever you are. kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you. Please say you'll be waiting. Together again, it would feel so good to be in your arms. We're all my journeys in. You can make a promise, if it's one that you can keep, I vow to come for you if you wait for me. And say you'll hold a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart.
Thank everybody for coming here today to celebrate my life. And this is going to be difficult. However, it just seems in my mind, all not that long ago, that Scott was like a young lad growing up in New Jersey. He was joyous, athletic, independent, caring. And those traits carried him through his whole life. Anyway, I often think I'm standing there, my mind's still at Newark Airport. Sorry? Sorry, just East, but thank you for the call. I'm at the airport in Newark Airport, New Jersey. Scott's ready to fly off to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado, and his young teens, and he's no fear at all. And I have a tear in my eyes, saying, this is probably going to be an important moment in his life. And it was. And that was followed by going home for 4 years of college in Indiana, hiking the Appalachian Trail, which really many of you in the room know about, and finally completely relocating to Oregon for the rest of his life in 20. So I often think of the words of former General Douglas MacArthur, who had a beautiful prayer entitled, "Build me a son." He said, "Lead him not on the path of ease and comfort, but on the stress and spur of life's difficulties and challenges," which Scott faced well. And then as if by destiny, Krista comes into Scott's life. Made him think more about who he really was, paid attention to more forgiving, more everything, even sometimes doing what Krista wanted without her even having asked. Anyway, so then I believe that Scott was the son of General MacArthur, talked about gaining the open mind, pure wisdom, and the strength, just pure strength in his life. And this made me a really proud father. So to say in conclusion, that God bless us all until that day we each come to stand before our Maker, and that day there's no sunset and no dawning. With that, I thank you all. Thank you for attending.
Scott was the oldest of three boys, and at any rate, he was a real leader within his family. The thing I think about it is Krista's dad. You know, Krista was living here in Oregon and raised in Mackenzie as a single mom, and going through all of the things that you get to deal with. At any rate, Mackenzie's playing basketball. She goes through, she tears her ACL. She had some pretty traumatic things happen in her junior year of high school that at any rate, one of the good things in our senior year of high school, we got playing basketball, and Scott came into Krista's life, because we kind of wondered, our family kind of wondered, what is Krista going to do, after Mackenzie goes off to college? Little did we know. But at any rate, it was really a pretty fantastic thing. I mean, Scott just kind of came into, I remember the first time we met him, and we're dealing with our typical family stuff and doing our thing, and he was just hanging in there and smiling and being a really cordial guy. And he's always been there for Scott, or excuse me, for Krista, and Mackenzie, and Zach, and everybody that Scott ever had any contact with. Like I say, I think of comparisons for Scott. I think of, maybe some of you have seen the movie Braveheart with William Wallace, who was Sir William Wallace back in the 13th century. And it's ancient history, but he was a real warrior. And Scott was that kind of a guy with anything that he did. I think of William Wallace, and he's a Scotsman. Jim's a Scotsman, and so is Scott. And I think their family heritage kind of came through in Scott Noble. So we as a family were really blessed. I mean, Scott, I remember when he asked Krista to marry him, he called me beforehand, said he was going to have a party. And I think that may have been the first time we got an opportunity to maybe meet Jim as well.
It's also the first time Scott ever kept us surprised.
It was pretty amazing. He basically was pretty fantastic. We live in Arizona. We traveled out here under secret cloak, so to speak. At any rate, he pulled it off. He pulled off the proposal, and Scott just has, over the years that we've gotten to know him, it's just been one positive thing after another. He's just been an incredible influence, positive influence in all of our lives. He makes everybody a better person. Very, very good. So, one of the things that's pretty amazing is seeing all of you here. It doesn't surprise me, because Scott, he didn't know a stranger. He just really has been a terrific guy to anybody, and never met anybody. If there's anybody around that didn't like him, it's pretty surprising to me. So he's gone, but not forgotten. He'll never be forgotten. So, thank you.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Zach. I'm married to Mackenzie. I'm the father of that beautiful girl right there. And I'm the son-in-law to Scott and Krista. I say son-in-law. Scott was never really a father-in-law. He's one of my best friends. He's not someone who I ever had to try to impress or make sure that I was on my best behavior in front of. Rather, he's someone who I golfed with, got way too drunk with, spent a long time gambling on. Scott and I hung out when we needed to get away from our wives. It's special to me that we're holding this world, because this is where my relationship with Scott began. Back when I was in high school and college, we would meet up here often to play 9 holes when Scott got off to work. Our relationship really blossomed through those evenings together. I think we all know that Scott wasn't the most social person in the world. Lord knows that there was a ton of family dinners that he bailed on. But he knew when relationships mattered, and he gave those relationships his full effort. I'm always fortunate to know that our relationship mattered to him. I started dating Mac about a month before he started dating Krista, so we sort of joined the family together. Those two magnificent women allowed us into their lives. Over the years, we've created our own family in a sense. It wasn't mother-daughter, father-son, but more mother-daughter and two idiots who had way too much fun together. You know, when someone close to you passes, your initial instinct is to always think about the last time you saw them, the last time you spoke to them. For me, I feel incredibly lucky in that sense. The last day I spent with Scott was a day that I would never change. It was just a few days before he passed. Both of our wives were out of town, so we planned to have a guys' night together. Aaliyah and I picked him up, and we went out to go.
She was the designated driver.
That night, we came back to my house. He helped me give Aaliyah a bath and put her to bed. We ordered Indian food. We watched several episodes of our favorite show, Arrested Development. We got sufficiently drunk together. At one point in the night, I remember him looking over to me and saying, with that classic Scott, satisfied grin on his face, and said, "This is one of the best days I've had in a long, long time." When it came time to call it a night, Scott considered calling it over to take him home. But instead, he decided to sleep on the couch. He said that he just wanted to be there the next morning when Aaliyah woke up. That's who Scott was. He was selfless to a fault. He was loud. And he was someone that always radiated positive energy. We all know him well. To any of his friends here today, I'm truly sorry. He lost his laugh and his smile. To my wife, I'm sorry that he lost his love and his protection. To Aaliyah, I'm so sorry you lost a lifetime of adventures with someone in this world that loved you the most. And to Krista, I'm so sorry that you lost your person. Mostly I'm sorry to Scott. He lost a lifetime of trips, laugh, and love. He also lost a community that obviously loved him more than he could ever know. He lived every day with a sense of joy and childlike exuberance that would inspire him. In his memory, I will try hard to live every day with the same type of joy that Scott did, and I encourage you all to do the same. I miss you, Scott, and I love you. Thank you.
Weeks, a few words keep shouting out to me. Family, kindness, generosity, and support. Scott came into our lives, and it felt natural. He fit in seamlessly. The timing was perfect. It was Mackenzie's senior year, and Scott was there for every basketball game and all of the exciting moments of that special time in her life. Thank you. I've been eating a lot of these things. Honestly, I was a little worried what Krista would do after Mackenzie went away to college. As Krista is the most devoted, wonderful mom I have ever known. Well, Scott Noble to the rescue. By the way, fairy tale romances really can happen. It was true love. I fondly remember a conversation Krista and I had while at a concert at my 40th birthday that she took me to. Krista told me how she was so excited and yet afraid at the same time because she had never loved someone so much as Scott and had someone love her so much, back so equally and unconditionally. From then on, they shared a beautiful life, full of adventure and precious family memories. Scott's enormous generosity and compassion for others is part of his shining legacy. Nothing gave Scott more joy than bringing happiness to those he loved. He aimed to please. Typical family dinner at the holidays with Scott. We would all sit down to eat, him and Krista, labor for hours, have beautiful meals, and as soon as someone said something like me, "Oh, I really like this this gravy, Scott," or "I really like this sauce," "Wait a minute, do you want me to make some more?" And he'd be, "Yeah, some more." was like, sit down and enjoy it, Scott. His support of my travels when I was teaching in Abu Dhabi were life-changing for me. I could have not done it without his support. And I am eternally grateful that he was able to visit me there and have that experience with Krista and Kinsey. Thank you, Scott, for being the best brother-in-law and for loving my sister and embracing my family with all of your heart. Let's raise a glass to Scott. One heck of a noble man.
To me, to my husband, to my best friends, and to my daughter. Frankly, I think Aaliyah is the only person who has ever given my mom a run for her money as Scott's favorite person. For as antisocial as he loved to say he was, he would often turn into the life of the party. Just right on cue. Countless games of Rage Cage with me and my friends. Ill-advised late-night shots of scotch that turned into terrible, terrible bathroom trips. And once when it started to rain on our back deck fun, he brought out the easy up so we could continue to party. He was a man who truly loved a good time. I don't think any of us were truly ready for how much joy Aaliyah would add to Scott's life. He could just stare at the baby monitor while she slept, completely content with just watching her breathe. If he heard the FaceTime sound, I knew that I would see his face in 10 seconds or less, and he'd rush over my mom's shoulder to see her on screen. He taught her how to wave on her first camping trip that my parents took her on. And he took so much pride in being a grandpa and had no problem letting every single person he came into contact with know it. 3 weeks into attempting to process Scott being gone, I lost a friend who had been in my life about a year or so longer than Scott. Grief is a really complicated thing. Same girl. You can tell mine hasn't even scratched the surface. Scott mentioned more than once that he wished that he'd come into my life sooner to be a part of more of those early years. Only now do I truly agree with that sentiment. I'll miss him forever and I'll love him for even longer than that. Mom. You raised me with so much grace and poise. And for 18 years you did that by yourself. I love my dad through and through. My dad is my rock. It's actually his birthday today. But he was you and me for a really long time. And I know while it's not just you and me anymore, I just want you to know that I just have you through everything. You're my person and you were my first person always. I'm so sorry. There's nothing that is felt less fair than any of us going through all of this. I have no idea how many people are going to be here. There's so many. It's a true testament of how great he was, but it's just, I have your back and I know all these people do too. And I hate that we are walking through this at all, but I promise to be by your side every step of the way. He was the best person that could have ever come into my life to be a bonus dad, and I will miss him forevermore.
I didn't write anything down.
Oh, I have one. What did the suspenders say to the pants? What did the suspenders say to the pants? Kelly, you are not one. What up, britches?
I know that there's a Burke in the house. I know that there's a Jake in the house, a Lauren in the house. And if you all want to say something, why don't you guys come over here while I'm giving my speech so that, if you want to. You got called out for. So I'm going to tell you how I first met Scott. And if you were at their wedding, it's the same story. So just hang in there with me. Some of you probably don't remember it because it was a long time ago. But I knew Krista
long before Scott, and Scott was this new TS guy. It's pretty cute. You know, everyone's like, ooh, the new TS guy, it's super cute. Yeah, there was a bunch of single ladies in assessment and taxation, and I wanted to set Krista up because I knew she was a catch, right? So I finally found the guy, and I went into her cubicle. We had orange cubicle walls back then, and I said, I found your husband. And there was this cute, but like, I didn't know this guy, cute guy under her desk, fixing her hard drive. I paid no attention to him, and I'm saying, I found your husband. And she's like, no, maybe it's okay, I'm fine. And I'm like, well, since when? We've been talking about me fixing you up forever. And she's like, I'm good, it's all good. And I'm like, oh, what is happening? So I said, but I found him. He's amazing, he's tall, he's like really nice, all these things. And she's like, no, I'm good. Fine, see you at break. So she pulls me into the conference room and says, so you know that guy that was under my desk? We're trying to like do a thing here. We're trying to like see each other.
Not a desk thing, though. For the record, Steve Roper High Speed, that did not
So I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. And what Scott did after that point is a testament to who he was as a person. He went to Krista and said, maybe you should go on a date with that guy. Maybe Mary found your husband, and maybe that's okay. And Krista said no, but I just think that is the type of person he was, because he wanted Krista to be happy. And it's so ironic that I actually met her husband. I just got the guys switched. So I'm going to miss Scott coming into our admin area and saying, where is my beautiful wife? I'm going to miss a person that built me up. And I'm just so grateful that all of you knew him and loved him. And next.